My goal for today is to show you unconventional spine training and to take you outside of the standard model of training. Every time people do like a rowing exercise, we always talk about keep your back straight, right? What you're gonna do here is a row blended with spine flexion. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone. You're rowing for your scapula and your upper back, but you're also gonna flex the spine and extend the spine. So what I mean by that is when people do like a cable row, right? Think like what we do on the cable machines over there. You keep your back upright and pull, right? We're gonna change that dynamic by taking you outside of what people would typically do, unconventional. So you're gonna lean forward, flex the spine. You're creating curvature on purpose. You see my scapula is protracted. Extend, pull. Okay, I want you to see how different this loading profile is. How does the scapula feel with it? Are you getting flexion through the lower back? Are you getting flexion through the upper back? It's kind of like a one size fits all. So when you're doing this, I want you feeling the entire spinal cord lengthening as well as the scapula pull open. Okay, this is a kind of our way of blending strength training in with mobility training. Put your feet on that box. It's gonna be pushed against the cable stack. Again, we only have us in this setup because the cable crossovers are so busy. We would normally do this on a cable, on a seated cable row, right?
Emulate the platform.
Yes, exactly. It's emulating the platform, exactly right. Okay, so take this. How much you bend your knees is kind of on you. What I don't want to see you do is flex at the hip. I want to make sure you're creating curvature at the spine, okay?
Like a Jefferson curl?
Yes, yes. So you're basically doing a Jefferson curl hybrid to, again, address spine flexion and address the scapular protraction. So go ahead and tuck your chin, bring the scapula or the scapular protraction, flex the thoracic spine here. And then as you come forward, your job is to find as much posterior tissue lengthening. And so if you're feeling some thoracic, good. Now if you can creep in some stretching into the lumbar spine, even better. But again, we're going for global flexion. And then when you feel like you hit your max stretch, right, your point of diminishing return, begin extending the spine and now contract the backside to pull yourself back up. So begin extending, think cat-cow, extension, 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 extension. Now begin pulling through the elbows and retract the scapula. You're rowing now while extending at the spine. More extension, more extension. Remember, we're killing two birds with one stone here. Now you have spine extension paired with scapular retraction. Now head down again, tuck the chin, begin letting the arms come forward, open up the scapula, flex the thoracic spine. And now let yourself come forward. Beautiful. And now pull this apart, okay? So every time people row, we talk about doing it in a neutral spine setting, but why are we not loading a row with different spine positions? Now again, think cat-cow, the bottom of the cat-cow. You're extending at the lumbar spine. You feel contracting here to pull yourself back up, right? And then keep extending, keep extending, keep extending, and then begin pulling and retract. More extension, squeeze the scapula. Think about squeezing my pen between your shoulder blades, beautiful. And then reverse. You can open up the shoulder blades first if you want. There isn't one way to do this, right? So go ahead and try protracting first. Open up the scapula, head down next. Begin flexing the cervical spine. Then you're gonna creep into the thoracic spine. Then you're gonna creep into the lumbar spine. Once you get to that end point, again, that diminishing return of a stretch, take a big deep breath there. We feel all this tissue pulling and then extend again out of it. So just like everything else, full range of motion, right? We stretch tissue, squeeze tissue. You are now squeezing this tissue, retract all the way, and then you're gonna go in reverse and stretch. I have you on a timer here. You're gonna go for another minute straight of tension. I'll let it be up to you whether you open up the scap first or whether you tuck the chin first, all right? So scap protraction, you're opening all this stuff up. The cervical spine goes into flexion, the thoracic spine goes into flexion, lumbar spine goes to flexion. You see what we're doing there again. Big deep breath, there's no pain anywhere, right? You just feel open side stretching. And again, we usually start people in flexion of the spine because that's where they're the most restricted, okay? It's gonna allow us to do the other spine exercises a little bit more productively. So extend, 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 and then pull and squeeze. Beautiful. And let's get 3 more here and relax it. So I guess my point again with that is when we look at what like the standard model of training is that you have to have a straight spine when you're rowing, right? Like whether you're doing it cable, whether you're doing it bent over, this is deemed dangerous. But it really shouldn't be deemed dangerous if you're trying to train your spine, right? There's nothing wrong with what we just did if your goal was spine and scapula. And so like we do Jefferson curls, but it's like, how can we add more layers to it? And you can do a Jefferson curl like this. You can do a Jefferson curl dynamic where you're going side to side. There's other variations of it. We did like a Jefferson row, in a sense.
I feel it better than the Jefferson just because this is
locked down, right? And so again, whatever setup works for you. That's why like we have so many alternatives. Is one, what's someone's access to equipment? If someone gets pain doing a standing Jefferson curl, this setup allows them to flex the spine without as much pain, right? It's a regression. And then they can work to doing it standing. You also kind of kill two birds with one stone by getting some scapula stuff in it. So if someone's on a time crunch, they can kind of kill both birds with that stone so that they can be more effective with their training. Does that make sense? Yeah. We're gonna go ahead, again, thinking outside the box, right? This whole workout is untraditional spine exercises. Hanging is often done for shoulders, lats, spine decompression. You always hear people say that, where if you hang from a bar, your spine will kind of pull apart in a sense. There's some merit to that. But what we're gonna do is change the position your spine is in while hanging. We're gonna do two different drills here. Drill number one is you in extension, hanging like this. Right now, I feel a wicked stretch in my stomach because this tissue is lengthened. We are just gonna hold this position. You notice my hips are not touching the ground and I have constant tension with the exception that my feet are on the floor, right? I'm not doing this, okay? It's two different things. You're getting length on your abdomen, right? Anytime you extend the spine, this has to pull apart. So we're creating a loaded stretch. Your body weight's the load. The other position I'm gonna put you in is a side bend stretch. So right now you'll see that my hip is not touching the floor and I'm lengthening all of this tissue. Okay, you're gonna stretch your lat a lot, but I want you thinking every time you do this tissue has to pull apart, right? Your lat is part of that. You and I are similar in height, so this will probably be okay. If you get pinching in your back, let me know. If your shoulders can't do it, let me know. If your grip gives out, let me know. Okay. What I want you doing is grabbing here first, feet back. If you need to kneel first, you can do that. I'll position you from there. So again, we're just doing a loaded stretch, a body weight loaded stretch. So let the hips sink right there, feet together a little bit more, head up. So right now, do you feel open side stretching or closing side restriction? Both. Okay, take a big deep breath and put your head up. Be able to find a little bit more open side as you do that, okay? So now just hang out there. I have you on a timer. So again, this is a loaded stretch and you're using your body weight as the loading mechanism. And as you do this, the goal is the only point of contact is the feet. We feel the spine's anterior tissue lengthening. We have minimal closing side restriction. You might feel some lat stretching. You might feel some pec stretching. That's all gravy. Your job right now is to just breathe, hang out there. Think about getting your feet closer together where they're touching. Think about playing limbo with my hands. You should feel a deeper stretch there. Yeah. How is your grip holding up?
It's good.
It's doing okay. Okay, hang out there. You're at 45 seconds. We hold this until we fail. Okay, for a couple different reasons. The grip is not the focus, but if your grip sucks, then whoever's watching this video simply can't do it. But if you have enough grip strength, this is a really good way to load spine extension. Everyone trains like a Cobra pose, Superman's, but it's rare we see stretching of the abdomen. This is a wicked way to stretch. Another thing you could do to make it a little harder, depending on where you're at versus someone watching the video, scoot your feet back a little bit more, and then stick your chest up more. You see how you're creating more length in this anterior tissue?
You're
losing the grip a little bit. That's okay. You got 10, 9, breathe. 8, you're almost at 90 seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax it. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah. And so again, to kind of come full circle to what we did over there, we trained spine flexion by lengthening the backside, and now we're training extension by lengthening the front side, right? And these are two different ways that are kind of unconventional, but they're really good loaded stretches, so you can build strength and active range of motion at the same time. Take a second, let your grip cool off, then we'll do the lateral flexion. So again, we stretch spine flexion, stretch spine extension. Now you're gonna do lateral flexion. What I typically have people do is they'll start here, grab on, bottom leg is straight, and I generally have the top leg do this because this is kind of awkward. And what I want to see is you pick your hip up off the ground. The grip strength is pretty damn hard. If it gives out, fine, then you could start training this in intervals, 30-second intervals, rather than one long set. All open side stretching. If you get closing side restriction, just speak up and let me know. So we cross this leg here. Now your job is to put this foot there, straighten this knee, tilt your hips forward. Now pick this up. off the ground. Right there, yes. Breathe, get a better grip, that's okay. And now do you feel all of the open side now lengthening?
Yeah.
Now just breathe and relax there. You're doing a loaded stretch. I'm gonna promote your alignment a little bit, stay put. Good. Hold, breathe, breathe, breathe. Hold it, man, hold it, that's okay. Reset it if you need to. Got a good stretch. Again, open side lateral flexion stretching. If you need to reset, that's fine. We're challenging your grip strength here. Again, there's multiple birds being killed with the stone. If you put your head back more, you might feel a different stretch. If you put your head forward, reset one more time. If you put your head forward, breathe. You feel a different line of tissue pulling. It's kind of on you to play around with that. I know, it's really hard, but now again, think like any type of loaded stretch, you build strength in that. And so if you do that and you time yourself and you do 30 seconds, then do 3 or 4 rounds of that, right? Let it accumulate, switch sides, and then we'll give you another round, another opportunity to do that again. So same thing, opposite. I'm gonna move the Nordic bench over. And so what I typically do is this is here, push off of this leg just a little bit to get the hip off the ground, and right there. Now there's no contact with the hip. All of this open side tissue is lengthening, right? And you're basically laterally flexed to the side like that, okay? Breathe, hold on tight, extend the spine more, stick the chest up. Yeah, breathe, man, try to relax. I know your grip's giving out. Just breathe and try to relax in a loaded stretch. There's nothing passive about this, right? People talk about passive stretching. This is a loaded, active stretch. Reset if you need to, fine. Give me another 20 seconds, and then we'll give you one last opportunity to hold it out. Deeper breathing, deeper breathing. Try to be more methodical about it. Reset the grip one more time, 15 seconds. Again, all open side stretching. You have no closing side restriction over here, no? Good, beautiful. One more time, for good measure. This grip needs a little bit of work, huh?
Yeah.
That's okay. You kind of get the gist of it, and similar to how people will do like this type of movement, but this is 15 pounds. How much range of motion is that gonna open up 15 pounds on this tissue? Arguably not that much, but you put your entire body weight through that positioning, you have way more of a reason to get stronger and open that up. There's a saying in mobility training is that strength builds trust, trust builds range. You're fairly weak in that position. Doesn't it make sense you'd be tight? Grip strength, sure, but you could tell it's just hard to hold our body weight there. Now, if you get strong in that position, your body has trust, it gives you a reason to open up that range.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Oh yeah.
Questions on that?
No, I'm definitely gonna be doing
Yeah, it's real simple. One thing that is worth talking about too is the height of the bar. If you wanted it to be easier, then go ahead and stand up for a moment just so you can see. If you wanted it to be easier, you can put it higher. So that way it's not quite as exaggerated hang, but I'm not in as much lateral flexion, right? Like I'm kind of here, or I guess I'm here, rather than all the way over here. Try that for a moment and just see how it feels as like a variation of it.
So here.
Yep, yeah. And again, now think about getting this hip to the ground. Yes, and you feel all this open side.
Oh, yeah.
And now if the grip is still the problem, then that's something you need to work on. And that's fine, like if you do this, your grip will get better, right? So think of it as grip training, think of it as lat stretching, think of it as lateral flexion stretching. And if this is more manageable for you, fine, start here, work your way down one peg, right? Start there, work your way down the next peg, and then eventually you'll get to where we were. And if you go any lower, then you're gonna be too tall for that position. So all the drills we did leading up to now has been length focused, right? We stretched flexion by doing the row variation. We stretched extension by hanging. You stretch lateral flexion by hanging. But we also want to be able to shorten tissue, right? Just like how you stretch your bicep and then squeeze your bicep, the same thing goes for the spine. So what we're going to have you do is lay on your stomach in like a Cobra pose. This is like the most common thing people do. I'm gonna break it down and show you how to get more out of it. On your stomach, feet are flat, knees are flat, on your elbows. Lean back from there. Okay, so again, the focus here is entirely about shortening spine tissue. So right now, I imagine you feel the backside of your spine shortening, right? Versus earlier, we were lengthening all this tissue. Now, what's important is earlier you asked me, can we do thoracic spine stuff? Yes, we can bias the thoracic spine. Can we do lumbar spine stuff? Yes, you can bias the lumbar spine. And again, your job here is to accumulate as much time, I hate the word time under tension, but as much time under tension in the shortened position. And so you can do like a Superman, but a Superman is really hard. Like how long can you hold that for? 30 seconds maybe, right? I'm gonna have you sit here longer, to get deeper into your spine. You can use your elbows as kickstands and lean back even further. Okay, further isn't inherently better though. Okay, the further up you go, if you were to move your elbows closer to you and lean back even more, I imagine you feel a ton of lumbar spine contracting. Now, if you were trying to train your lower back, you could do this. Now slide your elbows forward like 2 inches. I imagine you still feel the low back, but a little bit higher up than you did a moment ago.
Yeah.
Move your elbows a little bit further forward. And then you can bring your ribs down a little bit more and then lean back from there, but don't lose my hand. You see how you're getting more thoracic spine. So you can make this exercise, this setup, we call it a base position. This base position can be altered to either do lumbar spine, thoracic spine, or even the cervical spine, right? So hold this positioning, get comfortable there. So we spend a lot of time lengthening all this tissue, a lot of time lengthening this tissue, a lot of time lengthening this tissue. Now it's your job to shorten it and get into that position for as long as you can. So now you're already at 90 seconds. Go ahead and keep the elbows forward a little bit more. So slide them a bit further forward. Push down on my hand here and then lean back, but don't lose contact with my hand. Do you feel the thoracic spine extending there?
Yep.
Are you getting more neck?
On my left side.
Okay, bring your head down a little, but yes, so you see how you get probably less cervical and more thoracic, right? So hold that position. So like if you were doing it and you're looking up like this, it's gonna be harder for you to extend just from here, right? So looking straight ahead will allow you to not extend from here so much, so keep your sight that way, and that way you're not getting all the tension up here, right? That's not the goal. If the goal was the neck, then that's okay. But the goal is all of this stuff. Now try to, this is where it's gonna get a little bit more technical because we talk about how well can you contract tissue. If I kept my pen here, can you keep your positioning, lean back and squeeze your spine harder? Is that something that computes with you? You feel it contracting deeper. Like if I told you to clench your glutes harder, squeeze your bicep harder, contract your calf harder, tense your stomach harder. Can you contract your thoracic and lumbar extensors harder to get a more potent stimulus? You see what we're doing there? And now you're on the clock, you've been going for another minute. I'm gonna give you another 30 seconds and just keep contracting. So again, it's on you. You can pick to slide your elbows further forward. You'll get even higher on your back. If you like where you're at, stay there.
Perfect, right?
If you wanted to go further back and get way more lumbar spine, there's nothing wrong with that either, right? You can do either, and there's merit to all of it. I'm trying to empower you to understand how this base position works so that you can apply it to yourself and then a client. Like if a client sucks at lumbar extension, move their elbows all the way to them, right? Sit back as far as they can. If someone sucks at thoracic extension, where you're at, elbows are further forward, right? Some other cues that might help, especially for people watching the video, is if you stayed here, you see my hands on your ribs. Push down on my hand with your ribs, and then lean back from here as well. You see how you're getting a little bit more extension? So driving the ribs into the floor while playing limbo with my hand at the same time. It's kind of like one portion of your body's going down and the other portion's going up. That should allow you to access a little bit deeper, right? And since you've been sitting here for so long, I bet you feel your spine way more than we started. So now what you're gonna do is a Superman. So head down, arms straight. Okay, now we're going to full-on strength training, okay? Isometric contraction. So head up, arms up, hold. Now you found all that engagement that we just did in the Cobra pose. Do we feel the lumbar spine contracting? Do we feel the lower thoracic spine contracting? Do you feel the upper thoracic spine contracting? And now try to get up here, hold. If you get too much neck, look down, because I don't want all the tension going here, and that's okay. If that's a thing that you deal with, fine, no problem, that's your workaround. Keep holding, you're on the clock, you got another 30 seconds, don't lose me here. Try not to clench your glutes too much. Relax the glutes, extend the spine. You can see how you're extending at the hip a lot too. Not what I want at the moment. You see how you're able to bias the spine a lot better if the glutes are laxed, right? You're not squeezing your butt. Keep holding, you got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So again, you can kind of alter the base position, right? I said that earlier, but I'm reiterating it because it's so important. It's like all of the setups we do can be adjusted for what you need, for the most part, right? Yeah. Some are better than others, but like everyone does this for the lower back. You always see people leaned back all the way, and that's not wrong, but they're always training that one portion. You asked me about thoracic spine. You can do the same thing. I would tell you and do a Cobra pose. You'd be like, oh, I do those, but I feel my low back. Yeah, you feel in your low back because of your hand position, because of the way you're doing the exercise, and also if you suck at the thoracic spine. If you suck at the thoracic spine, do you think your body wants to engage that tissue? Or is it gonna go to where you're stronger? It's gonna go to where you're stronger, right? So that's where if someone struggles with the thoracic spine, say that's you or a client, sit there. If you feel a little bit of your T-spine engaging, sit there and just let it marinate. We call that marinating with tension. I bet you felt by like minute 2 or 3, it was like lighting up because you were sitting there for so long. Sometimes you need that marination to kind of, to set in, and then the rest of your training can be more productive. Like I bet if you did a cat-cow right now, the segmentation, you would feel it a lot. And you're gonna do spine cars next to kind of reinforce everything. But the longer you sit there, the deeper you get. That's why all the training we do is very long in duration. And you could see right away you felt some, but as the set went on, the intensity really started to ramp up. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. Make sense? Yeah. The car goes through the full range of motion, flexion, rotation, lateral, flexion, extension, right? The whole way through. I'm gonna have you hug yourself. We talked about shortening tissue. The entire time you're doing this, I want you to feel tissue both shortening and lengthening, depending on what position we're in. So go ahead and find extension, chest up. Do you feel extension in the back side of the spine fully shortening? Or do you feel your stomach lengthening?
I feel it right there.
Okay, you feel it shortening, good. So keep that contraction. Cars can be done at different intensity levels. It's important to understand, right? If you do it really light with low intensity, it's a maintenance tool. If you do it really hard with intensity, it's a training tool. I want you training right now, okay? So you feel the spine extending. Can you ramp up that contraction, right? Can you turn the volume up and make it louder? Now that you have extension, I want you to slowly rotate to your left, but tighten your obliques now. Brace this. Imagine I'm punching you. Create tension. Put tension in this corner. Now pour water out of your ear and put tension in this corner. I'm gonna keep punching you because I want you to feel what tension looks like when you're laterally flexing. Now put your head down and begin rounding the spine and contract the abdomen. Keep contracting the abdomen. Keep going. Bring it all the way around to me now. Slow, slow, slow. Take your time. Now you feel tension in the abs. Now bring tension to this right oblique. You feel how the tension transferred across your abdomen. Now to your side. Contract that and then extend. Feel the tension transfer to the backside. And then as you extend, chest up, you feel the tension go from the abdomen to the oblique to now the spine. Watch those hips. Chest up now. Bring the shoulder back all the way up. Now pause. Do you feel extension on the backside again? Okay, keep that contracted. Now rotate to me slowly. Tighten this right oblique. Put tension in this corner. Now water out of your ear, put tension in this corner. Yes, you feel that difference right there. Right, man, you're learning to shorten your oblique. Now flex the spine. Now as you come forward, the tension should be here and it should be transferring all the way to the abdomen and then to the left oblique. You see what we're doing there? Take your time, take your time. Keep contracting the oblique. Yes, water out of your ear, keep contracting, and now the tension's transferring to the backside. Now extend the spine. Take your time. Take your time. Beautiful, beautiful. Remember, it's a slow, methodical practice. It's a controlled articular rotation. Beautiful. You feel the extensors contracting. Look how much you're sweating already. Big deep breath. Good. Keep the extension. Rotate to the left. Have the tension transfer to this oblique now. Harden it up. Come on. More. More. Watch your hips though. Watch your hips. Tighten this up. Take your time. It's all good. Beautiful. Water out of your ear. Water out of your ear. Shorten this stuff. You feel that shortening right there. Now put the tension to the abdomen. Keep contracting. Keep contracting. As you lean forward, all that tissue is now shortening. Keep going. Bring it to me now. Bring the shoulder to me. Keep shortening. Keep shortening. Keep shortening. You feel the tension transfer again. And now it's in the right oblique. And then it's transferring again to the extensors. Keep contracting. Keep contracting. Extend the spine now. Extend the spine now. Beautiful. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Good. Big deep breath. Keep the extension. Now slowly rotate to me. The hips stay still. Rotate back to your right. Get tension in this oblique now. Learn to contract this. Yes, so the tension went from here to here. Keep this short. Water out of your ear. Keep contracting. Keep contracting. Yes. Now start leaning forward. Flex the spine. The tension transfer from here to here. Now it's on the front side. Bring the tension all the way around. Keep going. Keep going in the abdomen. Pause. Get more flexion. Yeah, you see that difference right there. Keep the stomach tight. Bring it to me now. Now the tension transfers to your left oblique. Keep going. Water out of your ear. Water out of your ear. Take your time, man. Take your time. Now extend the spine. Contract, all the tension's here. Squeeze, squeeze, not the hips though, the spine. Yeah, yeah, keep contracting that. Bring the shoulder to me now, and relax it. You can take a break from that. See how much you're sweating from that?
Yeah.
So again, like how deliberate we are is kind of like everything with it. And you'll see other people doing spine cars where they're kind of just like moving through it lax. And like that's fine as a tool to take care of your back. Like tomorrow morning you're sore, do the spine car, but not as intensely as we just did. You know what I mean? Like you notice how when I told you to flex, I want you to tighten all this. When you rotate, I want you to tighten this. Laterally flex, tighten this. When you extend, tighten this, right? You notice how the tension was transferring across your abdomen? The way you should kind of view it is like, are you going for a mile run at an all-time best PR, or are you going for a jog? Today was an all-time best PR. But if you're sore tomorrow morning, or it's just a day off and you want to move your spine, should you be doing the car that intensely? No, you shouldn't, right? You should just move through it in a relatively relaxed manner. But if you're doing it for training, that irradiation of tension as you move through is what's going to give you the most bang for your buck out of the exercise. Does that make sense? Yeah. Do you have any questions on that?
No.
That was good, right? Basic stuff done well. I'm telling you, man, that's where it's at.
Yeah, bro.
Good. You're going to be sore from that. You're definitely going to be sore.